So we're sticking down 6F5 limestone. If you've never driven a roller, absolute bone shaker of a thing. I'd have definitely made a really bad younger brother. It's always quite nervous when you're seeding little pieces like this because you haven't got a lot of seed. A new week and a new project. Got this old farm track. It goes down to a big lump of land down the bottom of here. Quite a few fields. The track's notoriously rough. Difficult for the livestock trailers to get down. It gets very wet, pretty miserable down here in winter time. And then as we get further down the track, there's a ditch down there which is all marled up, an old little pond where it overflows over the track and starts eroding the track. So this end's actually not as bad as the far end. We'll reinstate the ditch. We're going to put a new twin wall pipe through from the pond, clean the pond out, manage that water, get that going through under the track and down the ditch properly. And then as the week progresses, more stone coming in. All go, a load of prep today, and then we should be sorted for the rest of the week. So Paul and Andy have had those trees down now. I'm going to leave that stump in there because we're going to dig this pond out. I can use that root as a bit of a stop against my digger track. So as I grade and pull up that far side, if we're trying to slip in, that'll help stop me. Get all that backside done, then we'll rip those roots out at the end. The willow behind's dead in the top. We'll leave that as a bit of habitat standing deadwood. It's not of any danger where it is in the location it's at. The outflow from the pond comes down here. We've exposed it to a ditch. There was a pipe under here, old pipe. When I dug through that, a big load of red car came out, so that pipe's never run for years. So while this is an open ditch coming through, which is easy to maintain, and I'll just show you here, we've dug through the track with a little Volvo. We've got a tooth bucket on there because this was really hard. So we've just dug this through now to link into that ditch that you saw me cleaning out earlier. That goes all the way down to the main carrier at the far end. So we'll get a couple of lengths of twin wall through here, and this can be stoned back over. And that'll control the water height of that little pond. We've got a bit of rain coming, and I think we've forecast about 20 mil. We've not had that much yet, but I'm hoping it stays fairly dry because everything just turns a bit sticky on this sort of thing when it gets wet. So the wagons have been coming in thick and fast this morning. The problem is with this is you generally find that either wagons come too quickly or too slowly. You know, they're sat around waiting for ages or in a rush to get it down. Really tricky when we're doing this because there's nowhere to tip to rehandle, so the wagons have to back down, we have to guess, tip a bit up, wagon pull forward, tip a bit up, and then I'm levelling out. So we're sticking down 6F5 limestone, putting that down in a layer over the top of this existing hardcore track. Then we'll give that a darn good rolling tomorrow with a big road roller. And then we're going to put a gritstone on top to deliver nice wear finish on it. Big pain with these wagons is you can't tip and run forward at the same time. The old wagon you used to be able to tip up and drive and run it out nicely. The better job Luke makes of this, the easier it is for me. Drivers must absolutely hate this. It's quite brutal on the wagon, on the ram seals, isn't it? I mean, just dropping a few tonne out now to just lower the wagon down quickly. Bet the driver's chuffed that he's finished that. Well, get in, Gob. Now I can level this out. Well, this is a bit of a transformation from yesterday. Not just the weather, my hair as well. I called the barbers last night, I was getting so shabby. So yeah, skin fade, down with the kids, and the beard done, rejuvenated. So back down this track, it's going really well now. So I've had a load of wagons in again this morning. They keep backing down and I keep putting it out. You can see down here, getting there, that ditch is starting to fill up. See that sort of red car coming out? Where we dug this pond out on the other side, the water's been sat just stagnant for so long. The water's not been able to get anywhere through any of the drains. Drains were all blocked. So we've got this iron ore content coming out of the ground, but that'll soon clear. Bit of light in here. Aquatic plants can be planted or grow up on the sides, and at least it'll create some habitat. But moreover, what was most important for this was just managing the water on site. That drain that we broke into here was bubbling out when I broke into it because it's blocked under that hedge. And then the water was pushing up out of the ground and blowing through the old track. So that's let the pressure back off it this way into the ditch and can go to that new pipe. So that'll be successful. So really pleased with that, because that's going to save a mega headache that was going on before. Paul's somewhere down here now. He was last to sight, so that means he gets the worst job. Paul really hates this. It doesn't matter how many times he rolls the track or rolls anything, I always tell him it needs another pass. Just not quite firm enough yet. Only because it just shakes you to pieces. It's the most awful thing to drive. But it does make a good job. There he is. There he is, beetling away. If you've never driven a roller, absolute bone shaker of a thing. Yeah, I can feel the discomfort from here. I'd have definitely made a really bad younger brother. Kind of nice being the oldest. Yeah, the old Benford Terex Roller's doing a cracking job though. Not sure whether it is a Terex or a Benford, or whether they're the same company. It's got Terex on the front, Benford on the back, TV 1300. How is it? How is it?
Good. Noisy, vibrating.
I was just telling everyone how much you enjoyed us rolling. Go over this about half a dozen times with the roller. Look at it, really, really firm. So once we've got all this space in today, then tomorrow we'll be bringing in a gritstone to surface the track off with. Look a bit more natural in the environment, like a grey, brown gritstone. That'll be a sort of type 1 size, so about 30-40 mil down to dust. And that'll all bind together on the surface and just stop the track churning up as much. It'll compress down nicely. Much easier getting in and out here now with the livestock trailers and haymaking gear and whatnot down to these fields. Yeah, girls. I think the cows are wondering what's going on. All this noise and racket. Hello. They're a nice little mix, aren't they? So red and white Friesians, I think. Black and white Friesians. I think these might be brown Swiss. Hello. They're milker cows. Yeah, dairy young stock are always that much friendlier and nosier than the beef sucklers. You've been brought up on a bucket, imprinted from an early age, haven't you? Enjoying the sunshine today anyway. There's a few flies about, but it's not causing too much either. Not as bad as it has been for flies. Having said that, it's nice to see a lot of flies about. There's been a lot more fly life this year than previous years. I know my windscreen's catching a few, so whether that's just been the warm summer or whether that's a change in the environment for the better, I don't know. That water's really flowing out nicely to the pipe we put in. You can see a bit of that iron or sort of red car in there, but the water's now running really clear. Despite it looking pretty brown in that pond, I think that'll all settle out now and it'll be good. This ditch goes down and it's just holding like little pools all the way along it, so this can grow up and probably get cleaned out every 3 or 4 years, but that'll create more habitat down here now as well. Wagon's just tipping up and moving forward. That's another load. He wants an interview. He wants to be on YouTube.
He doesn't want an interview.
You don't think he does?
No.
You think he's just working out where he's going next?
I don't. Well, he can't go. He can only go forward.
He can only go forward. We've all got to move forwards.
One more. Excellent.
We thought you were coming for an interview on YouTube, but you're just cleaning the back of the wagon off. Is that you done?
Wanted yesterday.
Excellent. Thank you very much. It's going all right, isn't it?
Got a couple of tons spare. And just for the next heap of soil, before you get to that water tank that's in the field.
Yeah.
Just
A bit of a hump there.
you can just feel a bit of a.
Yeah, I was going to take the digger out, just knock the top of it off, but we've got we're coming with gritstone it all tomorrow.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, we've got something else.
Oh yeah. That gritstone.
Right.
It goes sort of brown and looks a bit more natural, doesn't it? Because it's so.
Well, it's coming down. Just feel
Yeah, saw that.
just a little slight divot in it.
I'll take it if there's only one. I'll take that. Thank you very much. See you later. Well, the difference a day makes. Been absolutely frantic this morning. Wagons coming in one after another, and they've been bringing this in for us. This is a gritstone, so it's a sedimentary rock. It's a bit harder than sandstone. It's a type 1, so it's about 40 mil down to dust. And we like using this on these sort of tracks because compared to the limestone you saw earlier, it's very stark and white and bright. It looks a bit artificial in the environment. Whereas this is more earth tones. Obviously the edges will naturalise, bits of soil and stuff will blow in, the plants will grow up along the wayside there. So the edges will soften off and naturalise, but colour of it's just a little bit more natural, a bit more earthy. It's not sticking out like a sore thumb. So we've got most of the stone down now, all the way down the track. Paul started rolling this end, just show you down here, it's looking really smart. Yeah, this gritstone, because of the fines in it, it sort of breaks down with a vibrating roller, back to a sort of gritty sand. So it all helps just bind together. Once it's got a bit of rain on it, it'll set really hard. So it's good. Ditch is running, water coming out of that pond, still that sort of red car in there out of that drain that was blocked. Like I looked at earlier, it's running clear now, so that should only improve. The other nice thing with this gritstone, because we're going to be moving cattle up and down this track, it's kind of smoother, it doesn't have sharper edges of the limestone. I think it's better on the cow's hooves. As that beds in and the top surface sort of wears down to a gritty surface, I think it's much better on the cow's hooves than the limestone or granites or slates. It does seem to make a good surface for a farm track. Anyway, so we've about finished off here now. Paul's just finishing levelling the last of the stone at that end, then he's going to roll it. I came down this morning on the tractor, come down the 185 with the Brown's harrow with the turbojet stock seeder on the back, and I've just stuck in 20 kilo of birdseed. So this is the field we've killed off, and then we've rotavated it and power harrowed it twice. It's dry on top. There is a little bit of moisture down there. Looking at the clouds, hopefully we might get a bit of rain yet again, which would be really useful. So I calibrated the drill before we came over. Just on the settings now, just need to knock on the feed roller, the fan and the agitator. When I flick it on in the cab now, then that'll activate the feed rollers, the fan that blows the feed down these pipes, and then it'll come out here on these little spreader plates, just see down here. Putting on a winter birdseed mix. Now this field's not actually in an environmental scheme, so the timing wise we're not critical. But we always find that if you sow this stuff too early, then it gets to head and seeds like late autumn. Well, there's loads of food around in late autumn, so I think it's much better if this stuff comes ripe just going into the winter. So when all the hedgerows are starting to lose the feed value that's kicking around, this one will come prevalent. So we try and sow this a bit later. It's only 1 hectare that we're doing, so we're putting 20 kilo on. Now I've not travelled very far down the road since I put the seed in, literally like a mile and a half. And you can see how all the sunflowers come to the top. So it's going to give it a mix up again. Black sunflower in there, there's a little bit of barley. I think they're a dwarf sunflower, a bit of barley in there, and millets, canary grass, all sorts of different stuff. Just give that a good mix up. Stalk, a bit of sunflower stalk. Yeah, it's much denser than the grass seed this, so I have to turn the feed rollers down really low compared to what we are sowing grass seed at. But that's calibrated now to do 20 kilos a hectare based on me travelling at 5k, 5 kilometres. So I'm going to travel at 6 kilometres because there'll be a bit of overlap around the headlands and stuff, and that should put us about right. Anything left in it, just spin straight through the middle afterwards. It's not an exact science. There we go, we've seeded him. Got the auto steer on. You can see the dust behind me now. You can hear the seed diddling down the tubes. Actually, there's a little bit of trash that's left on from where we burnt off the old crop and the old grasses that are on here. Might be quite advantageous really, because there's a few pigeons you see there taking off. So this might just help cover the seed a little bit more. Once we get a bit of moisture on it, the seed will germinate and come through. We're going to give it a roll in as well. Trying to get the dust in the cab. It's so good having the auto steer though. It's such a great function for this sort of job. I'm not going to worry about turning dead tightly on these funny little narrow corners. We can just work it round in blocks. No, it's all going to match up. It seems daft, but not having to use a steering wheel. I can just look round at my leisure. I'm not going to think about it. I just keep an eye that everything's going well behind. Still loads of flies about though. With the ground being dry and friable, it's working quite well with this air seeder in the following tines. There's lots of little crevices for the seeds to get into. Those tines just going over, or just drop it into those little hidey holes away from the birds and give it a bit of soil to seed contact when we go over it with the rolls. If it was wetter, then it'd sit on the surface a bit more and then birds and stuff would get it. It's always quite nervous when you're seeding little pieces like this because you haven't got a lot of seed. We have only got 20 kilos and it is only a hectare. So there's not a lot of room for margin for error really for getting the full coverage on the field. On a place like this, what I'll do is I'll work for these longest bout runs first, and I'll worry about the little headlands and cuttings, the shorter pieces at the end. So if we do end up just running out of seed before a little bit of a cutting or a little bit of one headland, it's not the end of the world for what we're doing here. But I am just running it a little bit faster than my calibrated speed, so it should just have that bit left over. But it's surprising on a small piece, just slight overlaps on cuttings and things, you'll soon use up what extra seed you thought you had. That's it, we finished sowing that, folded up, ready to go. So we can just have a quick look in here. So there's a little bit of millet seed there, sunflower. On the whole though, it's those following tines have just covered it in. You can't see it on the surface here, that's good. Give it a roll in and then we can just do with about 20 mil of rain 3 or 4 times over on the place and just get it watered in a bit. So it is so dry. That's on there. That's gone well. Just ran out of seed a little bit. There's one pass there, just between the gates where we ran out, but that's kind of a track that we use to the next field, so that's pretty inconsequential really.